IMHO Talk Show.
Yes, indeed. Sir Charles.
Miss Max.
Razor.
In the booth, in the building, one more again. For the people, y'all, for the people. IMHO Talk Show.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to find us everywhere. You listen to FM or you stream, whatever. We there, Miss Max?
Whatever.
That's right. Whatever. Hey, we're gonna keep the show rolling though. This is the week of love, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
Amongst many things. So we have a gentleman with us right about now, none other than the real Sco. He is the founder of Luv First The Movement.
Mm-hmm.
So he's here today to talk to us about his new music, about their clothing line, about the events that they put on, and just like what it's all about. Because people may see the brand and whatnot, and so so we linked up. Thought it'd be a great idea for him to just come on and talk more about it for those who may not be familiar with it and may want to get down with it. So, Sco, how you feeling this afternoon, my man?
No, I'm feeling good, man. Feeling good, feeling great.
Welcome to the show. There you go.
Yeah.
Look, I like him.
That's number one.
Look.
That's number one, because regardless, we gonna be that.
Right.
For sure. So Luv First The Movement. Let the folks know what that is about exactly. Start wherever you want to start, but act like nobody's ever heard of it, nobody ever seen it.
Right.
What's your sales pitch? What is Luv First The Movement?
Well, Luv First is its own thing. That's the main reason why Luv First is what it is just so that people can realize it without asking too many questions. If you really have questions about what Luv First is, you might need to search within yourself to to figure out why you asking that question, because it's exactly what it says. Love first is truly the movement. I'm a firm believer in God, and love and God is synonymous.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is just something that I feel like our youth and a lot of our adults need on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To base a lot of decisions and their thoughts off of, and try to do it through my music as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Promoting positivity and things in that nature.
Good stuff.
Oh, yes, indeed. So you're in the entertainment realm, you're in the culture realm, whether it's fashion or whatnot. So like what experience did you have for that name to stick? Because I find a lot of times, especially in entertainment, like guys may start with a certain name, or they may click up with certain crews, and you got different names, whatever the case is.
Right.
But so there's so many that you could have chose. But like you said, it's self-explanatory. But what makes it so self-explanatory? Like how did that name stick?
Well, it stuck once I started seeing the responses. Live performing. In my normal gear as a young artist, people tend to try to figure you out. Before you get on the mic, they're like, okay, is he a gangster type rapper, or is he conscious, and my music at the time was a cross in between. And I just got tired of explaining myself, So, people are saying, hey, well, who is he with, or who is he around? And, and at the end of the day, being from California and coming to Virginia, it was just, Virginia does a good job of judgment.
Virginia is Virginia.
Virginia is Virginia. So, I just got tired of explaining myself, man. And as it moves forward, my performances now, it's more of an outward expression rather than just trying to make it, just trying to make it here, just trying to make it there. It's more of a true movement, similar to what our forefathers did in the 70s. And so.
Gotcha. Now, what came first? Like, what was the first inspiration for this path? Was it like a love for fashion? Was it a love for music? What?
Well, it started with like inspiration. Like I said, I am an artist. Shout out my boy Jamez, Jamez Payne. He came up with the idea of spreading it through the clothing.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as me expressing myself to help children and women to understand that, hey, we're here as men, Black men, positive as well, you know, and we can rap, you know.
Okay.
Got you. We are joined by the real Sco of Luv First The Movement. Yes, indeed.
So was that a difficult decision for you, though? You know, when you think about rap culture, different genres, and what, you know, people like to hear the songs about the guns and the drugs and the big girls and stuff like that. And so I'm no rapper by any means, but I imagine but I imagine that those that are, when they're trying to decide who am I and what message am I going to put out into the world, you know, they got to bring pause when it's like, okay, I'm kind of going against the grain here.
Right.
You know, and am I going to have an audience? Are they going to receive my music? You know, how is this going to impact my success?
Right.
You go through all that thought process, trying to figure yourself out.
Well, you know, as a young artist, that's how it started. You know, it's like, do I want to come off hard or do I want to come off soft or what? And this and that. And like I said, I just got tired of playing that game, you know, or coming out with a certain song because I felt like, you know, who wanted to hear it, you know. Of course, you have inspirations when you first start out and you want to kind of mimic your inspirations. And after a while, I'm like, man, I just want to do me, you know, because it's not that many artists that are. It does take a lot of bravery, you know, to not really worry about who has to say what. And it's worked, you know. I remain an individual, and everything has worked since then.
There you go.
That's what's up. So tell us about you know, like the music a little bit more about it. Tell us about the discography. You know, like some of your experiences in you know, within the industry. You know what I mean, or like some of your top projects that may come to mind, and of course, how folks can find the music. You know.
Okay. Well, a lot of my music can't be found. You know, the most of my music cannot be found because, you know, I make hundreds and hundreds of songs. I'm extremely talented with that, you know, when it comes to creation. You know, I draw and things like that. So, but as the music that I've monetized is out, of course, on Apple Music and pretty much every major platform, YouTube. My favorite project that I've came up with was called Algorithm Problem Solved. It came out right around COVID. And the ironic thing about that is that, you know, years leading up to that project, I was getting no attention with the Luv First, you know, zero attention. You know, everybody, oh, he's corny. Oh, he's just coming up with something, you know, that's not true to him or this and that. And then here comes COVID, you know, and then when COVID hit, it seemed like everybody was looking for love, you know, or some kind of support. And that project ended up being in the Source magazine and shooting my career off, for the most part.
For you.
My latest project is called Mosaic Groove, which is also out on our platforms. And that was something I produced on my own. Trying to paint a picture of all my piece, like what I consider my piece is labeled in each track. And as we all know how Mosaic is, it looks like a whole bunch of different pieces to make one big
that's deep
vision. So, and that's a beautiful album. Y'all check it out.
That's what's up. Yeah. So, the music. So you talked about the impact and whatnot. You know, like what you want people to feel and get from the movement, whether it's through the music or whatnot, right? So talk a little bit more about the fashion piece, and you know, shout out
Jamez, boy, Jamiggity Mez, boy.
Your partner Jamez.
He ain't playing around.
Like, so what's that? You know, more so like when it comes to the appearance of the clothing and who is it for? Is it for the B-boys? Is it for women, children? You got everything, you know what I mean? Like what's the impact? Because you talked about the music, but what's the impact, and like what have y'all done with the clothing? How have y'all spread that?
The actual clothing is doing for everyone else that is brave enough to wear it what it has done for me, as far as it gives you a chance to be seen and understood off the break. You know, nobody has to ask too many questions. It does stand out. You know, you see Luv First is nice and large on the t-shirt. Our logo, we try to put on, you know, on a large scale so that you can see. as far as moving the brand, we've done fashion shows in Carolina for the most part. Shout out to Fayetteville and surrounding counties. Yeah, and to see the women in our dresses and our garments, you know, and they're so positive about what they're doing when they're walking. They're asking questions like, okay, you know, I am a model, so I guess I got to wear this designer stuff. But once they see the photos, and one of our favorite models, Jacqueline, she's a young model, but she's grown over, and to be able to do things overseas, represent our brand. And we have a few ambassadors for, you know, our company, but just to see these Black women wearing something so positive and making them feel beautiful just means the world to us.
And I love that. I'll say, I really like the way that artists take their art and attach that to clothing, and people can walk around with I personally am very conscious about what I choose to wear on my body. I have a sweatshirt on today that says Psalms 23, but it's kind of designed to mimic like Jordan with the number 23. And you know, like I said, I'm very conscious about what I choose to wear and display to the world, because people are forming an impression of you. Right. But no, I think that's wonderful when you can blend your art to clothing like that, especially with such a positive message. So absolutely, personally, I'm a creator, so I'm connecting in that way. So yeah,
and children as well. You know, in Fluvanna, we've given children a chance to express themselves in the classroom, you know, with our T-shirts. Of course, I have my daughters, my young daughters in there, and my son as well, to wear their truth on them, because that's how we raised them to be, you know, my wife and I. And it's a beautiful thing to see the kids that don't even have anything to do with us, you know, are asking for a shirt because, you know, they want to express it as well. So it's a nice thing.
Look, man, like, speaking of which, like, we may have to play, you got a song called Let It Go.
Absolutely.
Hey, my daughter, 7-year-old daughter, walks around randomly singing this song. I ain't even joking. She got it on her iPad. She'd be walking around, but she'd be playing with, you know, like with her slime. She loves slime. She'd be at her desk playing with slime, and she'll be like, "Let it go, let it go, Sco, let it go."
Yeah. Shout out to Mina too. Shout out to Mina.
Yeah. So we are joined by the real Sco, Luv First The Movement. Now, so, like, sort of off air, we were talking too, because I wanted to bring Razor in the conversation as well. But like, what shifted as well, like, during your time in Virginia? Because you've been in different spots. You were talking about that you attended VSU, right, and stuff like that. And it sounds like that there was a shift to where, like, maybe you got more serious about the brand and the career, you know, at that point. Right. But then, of course, you know, coming to Charlottesville and doing work in Charlottesville as well, thinking about Luv First is big everywhere. But we talk a lot on this show about businesses, whether it's music or whether it's community organizations or whatever. If we would put the love first, we could get so much more done. Like, so it's not so it's sort of bigger than, right? It's bigger than music and entertainment or whatever. It's like, think of how much we could get done and how positive, you know, the world would be if we actually put love first. And like you said, like, that's even biblical.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So so I wanted you to dig a little deeper in that about you know, like some of the things that you saw. 'Cause I heard you mention shows and whatnot, but just your experience of being like, yeah, this is the point where it's like, this is what I'm gonna devote the majority of my energy to. You know what I mean? Because the world needs this.
Well, it started actually in my household. You know, I was a young kid with young children, you know, and a girlfriend and rent and groceries. And
there you go. That'll do it.
You know? And laundry,
diapers,
and dishes, and trash, you know, but that's where it started for me. I felt like, I mean, Luv First is spelled L-U-V for a reason, because we feel like it's about the individual.
Okay.
It's not necessarily about me. It's about you and you and you, you know? And so I I was at a low point in my life around that time when I had young kids. And the only way I got back on my feet was to pay attention to the things I needed to pay attention to as far as what made me happy or, you know, making sure that my situation was straight so that I can expand and inspire outward, you know. So love first is not necessarily like, hey, you know, I love you like Barney. It ain't you love me. Nah, that's just unrealistic. But, you know, it's more so about every individual focusing on their love so that everything else just reflects.
You may not give a different answer, but how do you speak about that when you take it to the streets, literally? Gun violence, black on black crime.
It's hard to. Well, it's not hard to do. It's just hard for. I don't get a response. You know, if I do speak to some cats from the street or whatever, you know, that everybody's looking at me like, man, go ahead. There ain't no love around here, you know, which I understand. But when I leave and they got a few minutes to think to themselves, they realize, you know, I always get it. It'll be a couple days later, a couple weeks later, be like, man, I didn't get it at first, you know, but now I really understand it, you know. So, I mean, I'm no politician, but, you know, all I can do is what I can do with what I have. So.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that is something tough to be able to balance. Like, what kind of support network? Talk about that, because I think that's important, you know, for folks to recognize as well. Because you talked about being in a place like Petersburg, right? Like during a time where it may have been at the height of its like violence and drug epidemic. So there's and you talked about needing to be focused, right, and needing to find your money path,
right,
and for you to choose positivity says a lot, you know, about you. But go ahead and shout out like your family or something, because you had to have some sort of support structure, or maybe it was just your faith. Maybe it was faith, you know?
I gave up. You know, I gave up with all the nonsense. I was just like, look, I'm tired of trying to figure things out. I just need to.
That happens when we hit the bottom, ain't it?
It do. I laid out on the floor. I remember the day I couldn't take it no more. I just said, all right, you know, and I'm just like, look, I'm just gonna focus on a certain purpose so that it'll be able to guide me through whatever issues I have. You know, of course, everybody runs into individuals that may not like them so much, but Love First has got me through a lot of things.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of different things. A lot of I just try to stay optimistic in situations like that. You know, it's just like, okay, especially if it's another brother coming at me sideways, it's kind of like, man, you know, I got genuine love for you because, you know, our ancestors struggled the same way. So it ain't like it can't get that serious, you know. Anything outside of harming my family.
Jams is your boy DJ Benjamin.
You know, can be reconciled.
Right. So how about when we talk about obviously Love First person naturally thinks from one person to another, but how about that self-love? Because that's one of the things that, you know, especially with my kids, but my younger boys, and talk to them about sometimes, you know, they have negative thoughts about what they can't do. This is too hard. I can't do this. I can't do that. And I try to explain to them that would you ever tell me, or would you ever speak to me or Daddy in that way? Would you tell us what we can't do? Would you tell us we're not good enough? Would you tell? No, I wouldn't. Of course not. Matter of fact, one of them said, why would I ever say that? I was like, well, you need to talk to yourself the same way. You need to love yourself the same way, not speak to you. Treat yourself kindly and speak positive to yourself. So when you talk about that love first, what do people need to bring into perspective in terms of loving yourself first as well?
Jamming at midday, I am your boy DJ.
You gotta start with forgiving.
Valentine's Day is Friday. Make sure y'all on top of y'all game this year.
Everybody had the moment.
Don't wait till Wednesday, Thursday.
You know, that stick in the back of our minds, like, and prevent us from moving forward. You know, sticking back, man, I shouldn't have did that, or, you know. So I would say the individual should definitely forgive themselves and then practice on forgiving others too, because everybody has problems.
Absolutely.
Look, you're giving a whole therapy session right now. I'm just trying to let you know.
Yeah, and you know, this one's for free. You know what I'm saying? Next one we might have to, but yeah, just that's how I feel. Okay. At least. Just for everybody forgiveness is real hard, you know, because that leaves you vulnerable. But I'm living proof that, you know, vulnerability can teach you a lot.
That's right. That's right.
Everybody's afraid of being vulnerable, and
hey, Charles, let me talk to him for a second.
What you got?
No, I've purposely been quiet over here, right?
Purposely.
Yeah, purposely. Right. Your humbleness is your strength. Right. You know what I'm saying? And too often when somebody has their platform, other black men can step into that and dismantle it, so to speak, or people not. I have a strong personality. So sometimes when I talk, focus gets on me. But listening to you and the conversations that we had, you coming from San Diego over to Virginia, you taking on the responsibility once your girlfriend got pregnant, turn your girlfriend into your wife, create a company where, you stood your ground, the source recognized you grew. Like Max said, you're giving out therapy sessions for people, like in humbleness, right? I want to give you your flowers for me right now. I'm impressed.
Appreciate it, bro.
You know what I'm saying? I love seeing stuff like that. So I purposely was quiet because I wanted to make sure that the questions that Charles and Max were asking you, the way that you were answering them, they're reaching to somebody. I don't care if it's a person that's walking around with a pistol right now, person that got vengefulness in their heart. Like, I was there. I was that person walking around, right? Yep. And I'm telling you, I would be able to listen to you. Now, the ego may make them not listen to you right then and there in real time. But I'm telling you, the softness that you give, and when I say softness, I'm not talking about soft in a bad way. I'm just talking about you're making it very palatable to hear what you're saying without getting distracted by the noise. Right. So I just want to say, man, I'm impressed.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's a real thing.
Yes, indeed. So we have been talking to the real Sco about Luv First The Movement, and hope you're more informed now, and you if it's your first time hearing about it, you know what it offers.
Coming up next, I got y'all with that 25-minute lunch break
and the events.
Yeah. Speaking of that,
serving the culture in general. Yeah. So that's what I was about to go. What you got coming up?
Let me ask you real quick. Where does Sco come from? Like, is your middle name Roscoe or something like that?
No. Close. Say no.
She found the blackest Sco name she could think of. He got to be Roscoe. He looks like a Roscoe.
Not during this month, man. We could have did that in March or something, man. In February, no, my name is Francisco. That's my first name, my father's middle name.
Gotcha.
But I felt like I was actually a freshman in college, and there was an upperclassman in my room that ran a lot of the campus. He's just like that guy. But long story short, he was like, what's your name, man? So I told Francis, I'm not calling you that. What they call you? I said, Cisco. They call me Cisco. Family call me Cisco. Nah, man, I ain't calling you no Cisco, man. I'm gonna call you Sco. And I said, nah, I ain't going with Sco. But once I started rapping, I'm like, okay, maybe I could turn it into an acronym, and self-control opportunity is what SCO stands for.
Okay.
So, and, comes hand in hand with Luv First. I felt like, hey, I could control this. Ain't nobody gonna tell me I'm soft. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. They tell me I'm soft. They can try it. You know what I'm saying? If they want to, but it ain't necessary. Let's keep it as far as possible away from the negative. Something that'll bring negativity. So let's go.
Respect.
I gotta respect.
And the real DAREEL is because Facebook wouldn't let me do the real SCO. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I like the real. Okay, they got a ring to it. So the real SCO is what we are.